Hello, and welcome to Social Conversations, where we get the privilege of sitting down with various changemakers in the field and hear about their journey and why they do what they do. I'm your host, Santhosh, and I have with me Nadi Chan, Finance Manager of Foreword Coffee. So Foreword Coffee is a cafe that curates specialty coffee here in Asia. They empower coffee crafters from cherry to cup, establishing meaningful relationships with coffee producers and giving equal opportunity to differently abled persons at the front line of coffee producing, from brewing to serving coffee. Thank you so much for joining us, Nadi.
No problem.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Foreword Coffee does and why they do what they do?
Okay, so Foreword Coffee basically have three different aspects to it. The first aspect is that we want to empower people with disabilities. So we don't really hide them at like what other places might possibly do. They don't hide them like to wash dishes or things like that, but we put them at the front line straight. They are the ones serving you coffee. They are the ones taking your orders. They are the ones making your coffee, basically grinding the beans, basically everything. As much as possible, we try not to be at the bar. So basically everything is as it is. Like it's based.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they run the show.
They run the entire
right?
show. Yes.
That's great. And you guys don't just work with differently abled persons. What else do you guys do as a cafe?
So the other two aspects as a cafe which we do is that one, we basically bring in Asian beans. So we believe in the potential of the Asian regions.
Right.
So it's a bit different what Asian beans might actually taste like. For example, our Indonesian beans may taste a bit more spicy.
Okay.
And we even have one Chinese bean, one China bean. It's a bit like an Ethiopian, if you know your coffees.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more fruity, cherry-like. So
Right.
it's very, very interesting. And I think it's also good that we empower people in the Asian region because it's just different. It's not what you usually get from like places like other coffee places in Singapore where they mostly focus on African beans or South American beans.
Yeah, so like I spent a good amount of time in Africa and I spent a lot of time drinking African coffee or coffee from South America. So yeah, it's interesting that I've been in Singapore for quite a while and I haven't really had coffee from the region until today, you know. So yeah, that's really great that you guys do that. And you guys are also sustainable in how you guys run your business.
Yes.
Right?
So we basically collaborate a lot with environmental groups. So one way we do it is like we support the BYOC movement, the Bring Your Own Cup movement. So we give a 10% off to anyone who brings their own cup.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Yeah, it's quite a significant amount. So if you buy a $4 coffee, it becomes $3.60, 40 cents off.
Right. Oh, nice. I didn't bring my own cup today, but these are beautiful cups that you guys have here. So I'm not apologizing for that, I guess. But so how did Foreword Coffee start really? Did it start as a cafe or did it start as something to empower society?
So basically, the mission came first, followed by the coffee.
Yeah.
So basically, you can replace the coffee with anything else. Initially, actually, we were thinking of doing ice cream.
Right.
But we decided that coffee is something that it's something that people bond over, people talk over, make conversations over. Like you just sit at a cafe, you just talk with your friends over a cup of coffee, right? That's something we're trying to do. We want to create conversations because what we believe is that people with autism or people with disabilities in general have a stigma in society. Like specifically speaking for people with autism, people only see them when they're melting down. So there's a tendency for people to believe that they're always like melting down.
Right, because you don't really notice it until something happens.
That's the most visible,
the
most visible thing people can associate autism with. But that's not really true.
Yeah.
If you actually have the opportunity to come to the cafe, you will find that that's really not the case.
Yeah, but you guys should definitely do so.
And you will find out that people with autism can lead as meaningful a life as anyone else.
Okay, that's very cool. So the mission came first, and then you guys decided on coffee, right? Does the founder Wenjie have anything specific that he likes about coffee? Is that something he's always been passionate about?
Okay, so he went to Europe on his exchange, and he discovered the coffee culture in Europe.
Yeah.
So what the coffee culture in Europe was like is not so much about espressos or lattes it's mostly about hand pouring, like it's those pour overs. So it's basically people don't expect you to get coffee quickly.
Right.
So it's something that suits the need.
It's like a process, and it's almost like an art form.
It's very performative as well.
Yeah.
So it shows how our baristas can actually like make a cup of coffee from start to end.
It must be difficult I don't know, because of the stigma that society has about differently able people, have there been any interactions in the office, in the cafe that have been unique or like different that you didn't expect?
Well, people at first will be quite surprised.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when at the cashier, the words may be jumbled up a bit.
Right.
But after all, people do understand. They are patient, and sometimes initially if they don't know us, they might expect they might be wondering why does it take a bit longer to get my cup of coffee.
Right.
But as they see the whole thing, and the coffee is good actually.
Yeah.
I think this is all okay.
Yeah, no, the coffee is delicious. So, I'm a big fan.
So technically, while we cannot really promise fast coffee,
Yeah.
we can definitely promise very good coffee.
You can definitely promise quality, yeah.
Why we are not really in the CBD yet.
Right. Are there plans to sometime get into the CBD?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah, how many outlets do you guys have so far?
Okay. Currently, this is our only outlet. This month in October, actually, we'll be opening at Tan Tock Seng Hospital.
Okay.
It's in the new building at the Center of Healthcare Innovation.
Okay.
So yes, watch out for that.
Expansion. So that means staffing should not be a problem for you. Are you guys looking to expand because you have too many members, or do you guys have to go and source for new people to work in your teams?
We need to find, the thing about working with people with disabilities is
Yeah.
that we need to find the correct, we need to work to their strengths.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's an interview process where we see whether they like the whole thing. And generally, once they start working here, they generally like it a lot.
Right.
And it's no problem getting them to work like as much as they want.
Yeah.
Our people usually stay,
Okay.
but it's just that finding the right fit and also the training may be a bit extended.
So that was going to flow into my next question really well. How do you guys conduct training for your staff members here?
We are very, very OJT, so it's on the job training.
Okay.
So we will generally just shadow them and guide them through the whole process.
And they get to deal with customers each and every day throughout their training, right? Oh, very cool. So what's the most interesting, most exciting interaction or most positive interaction that you've had, either with a staff member or with a customer?
Okay, this one was with a staff member actually. So what happened was it was at an event we were serving coffee at. So a few months ago.
Okay.
So what happened was that my barista, she actually taught me how to do sign language.
Oh wow.
So it's like the roles were kind of reversed.
Yeah.
I was always teaching her how to make coffee, how to count money properly.
Right.
And now she's teaching me how to be more inclusive as well. So it's like, in a sense, right, I felt like the loop was closed a bit.
Yeah.
Because we do employ deaf baristas as well.
Yeah.
So she's teaching me how to communicate more with my deaf baristas.
So she teaches you sign language so that you can better communicate. And that really shows how you guys empower these people, right? That you don't just feel like you are serving them, but they're truly serving you and in all different ways, whether serving you with coffee or teaching you sign language. How about you specifically? Did you always see yourself joining the F&B industry or the social sector? Where were you 3 years ago, and did you see yourself here?
Okay, so I'm actually about to graduate, so very, very final year of NUS. I do economics. 2 years ago, if you ask me this question, I would be saying I would be in a bank.
Right.
But here I am right now as a barista.
So, yeah, what happened? What changed?
Okay, so I wanted to start my own company at one point of time, and I was approached. Actually, Wei Jie, the founder here, he was one of my interviewees. Those product market fit.
Yeah.
So when I talked to him, I heard more about Foreword Coffee. I got quite inspired, and now one thing led to another, and here I am.
So I was going to ask you, for the next 3 years, do you see yourself here? Where do you see Foreword Coffee in 3 years?
I would see Foreword Coffee more in the heartlands as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just hidden away in a hospital or a government building, but we want to reach out more to people we want to reach out to society in general.
Yeah.
Which is also partially why we left NUS. So initially, our first cafe was in the College of Alice and Peter Tan.
Okay.
But then we do not want to just talk to students because students are very understanding. Professors are very understanding.
That's incredible. So you guys don't just serve your staff members, but you are serving the society, you're serving the community and helping them better understand.
I guess you can say we have two different customers.
Yeah.
One is our staffs themselves, and the other is basically our cafe customers.
How about things that were not that great, I guess maybe in the beginning, that you've kind of realized were actually not so bad?
It's similarly related to what's good.
Yeah.
Initially, when I first started out, when there are a bit more problems, you know, a startup journey is never really simple. So it can be a bit stressful at times because you're wondering, how do I do this, how do I do that? Partially because I never worked in the F&B business before, and I have never made my own espresso before.
Right.
This truly my first time interacting at depth with people with disabilities.
Yeah.
So it was completely like, I was thrown into the deep end.
Right, so big learning journey for you
It's
over the
huge,
last 10 months.
It was a massive learning curve. But I think somehow, I just overcome it, and so now the negatives become the positives.
Our viewers love a good piece of advice, you know, and a lot of our viewers, we are based in SMU, right? And a lot of our viewers are like SMU students who plan on starting their own startups or their own businesses. Give a piece of advice for them on how they might, you know, kind of also help society and also be a better part of that.
Okay, so I think, like I was mentioning just now, problems. So don't look at problems as a negative thing. I think you can flip it around, make it a bit more positive. Because if there are no problems, that's also not a good thing, because that either means the company's not growing or you're not growing.
Right.
So just take it as it is and just watch forward.
Cool, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us here at Social Conversations. So once again, I'm your host Santhosh, and with me is Nadi from Foreword Coffee. And yeah, it's just been great having him here. So if you guys have learned anything new, feel free to put it down in the comment section down below. Like this if you think it's great and we're doing something that's really interesting. And share this if some other people can join the social space today. Thank you so much. This has been Social Conversations.